It started as a calm crossing and ended as a fight for survival against the ocean's fury. There is a place so far south it feels like the earth simply runs out. A place where two mighty oceans meet, not in peace, but in fury. The wind there is alive. It howls with a voice that shakes the bones of ships and men alike. The sea rears up in walls of water as tall as buildings, shattering wood, bending iron, and swallowing entire crews without a trace. Hundreds of ships have vanished here. Thousands of men have been consumed by its black cold. This is not myth or legend. This is Cape Horn, the edge of the world, the deadliest water on the planet, a place where the sea keeps no mercy and remembers every name it takes. At the southernmost tip of South America, Cape Horn juts out like a broken tooth between the Atlantic and the Pacific. Before 1914, before the Panama Canal opened its calm shortcut, this was the only way to sail from one great ocean to the other. Every merchant ship, every naval expedition, every dream of global trade had to pass this lonely headland. For 3 centuries, the Horn was the crossroads of empires and the grave of their sailors. It was the last ordeal before glory, the ultimate test of seamanship, endurance, and luck. Here, at 56 degrees south, lies a belt of ocean sailors called the Furious 50s. No mountains rise to calm the wind. No continent interrupts its rage. The air circles the globe unchecked, gathering strength across thousands of miles of open water until it meets the Antarctic current surging from the west. There, chaos is born. Waves strike from every direction, twisting the sea into mountains that roll and collapse like living things. 40-foot swells are routine. 80-foot monsters are not uncommon. They are called Cape Horn rollers, waves that can crush a ship and never return it. Between the 1600s and early 1900s, more than 800 ships perished near the Horn, and over 10,000 sailors never came home. Some froze in the rigging, their fingers locked around ropes of ice. Others were swept overboard by walls of water or trapped below decks when their hulls split apart. Those who survived did not boast. They whispered. They said the wind screamed with the voices of the dead. For them, rounding Cape Horn was not merely a voyage, it was a transformation. It revealed what kind of man you truly were. Today, most ships avoid this cursed passage. Satellites and canals have made the world smaller, safer. Yet the sea still remembers, the waves still rise, the winds still howl. And somewhere beneath the gray water, the bones of those who gambled everything still rest in the cold dark, keeping silent vigil at the edge of the world. Cape Horn, the edge of the world. By the mid-1800s, Cape Horn had earned another name among sailors, the sailor's graveyard. They said no captain could round it without leaving something behind, a mast, a man, or his mind. Some never returned at all. Others came back haunted, older by decades for having looked into the heart of the storm. The sea off Cape Horn tolerated no mistake. In 1841, the William Brown struck an iceberg cloaked in fog and sank within minutes. 200 souls lost to the freezing abyss. In 1907, the Dundonald was dashed against the rocks of Disappointment Island. 4 men survived, clinging to cliffs, living for months on seabirds and rainwater before a passing vessel found them. These tragedies were not rare. They were routine. Each wreck became another entry in the Horn's endless ledger of sacrifice. Life aboard a horn-bound ship was punishment made of wind and salt. The cold sliced through wool and skin alike. Men worked the rigging with hands too numb to feel rope or blood. The deck rose and fell 40 feet at a time, hurling barrels, chains, and bodies across the planks. Sleep came only in fragments, soaked and shivering. One misstep could drag a man into the sea, and once gone, he was gone forever. Survivors later wrote in their journals that they could hear the sea calling, not like mere wind, but like whispers echoing through the dark. Yet still they sailed, for profit, for pride, for the simple duty that someone must. To round the Horn and live was to earn an honor no metal could equal. Old sailors carried tattoos of full-rigged ships upon their chests, the badge of those who had seen the world's end and returned. That mark said more than words. I faced the Horn, and I survived. Today, only a handful of ships brave these waters. Cargo giants pass when their size forbids the Panama Canal. Adventurers come seeking the ghosts of the past. On the Chilean shore, a small naval station keeps watch. A lighthouse, a weather post, and a monument shaped like an albatross, wings spread wide to honor the dead. When the wind roars around it, locals say you can hear the voices of every sailor who never came home. Cape Horn is more than a point on a map. It is a frontier between man and nature, courage and surrender. The storms still rise, the waves still break, and the sea still guards her secrets. Those who have seen the Horn say it follows them forever. In their dreams, in the whistle of the wind, in the quiet understanding of what it costs simply to stay alive. Cape Horn, the edge of the world. By the dawn of the 20th century, the world itself was changing. Steam replaced sail, iron replaced wood, and progress promised safety. But the sea does not change. It waits. And Cape Horn waited too, patient, merciless for those who dared to face her one last time. These were the final voyages of the Age of Sail, the last duels between men, machines, and the untamable ocean. When the Panama Canal opened in 1914, global trade was transformed. Ships no longer needed to risk the Horn. Even before that, steamships had begun to eclipse the great clippers, coal instead of canvas, pistons instead of wind. The old sailors mocked them as smoke belchers, claiming that real ships breathed the breath of the earth. But deep down, they knew the truth. The age of wind was dying. Still, a few refused to yield. Between 1900 and 1930, proud captains took their tall ships south for one final round with destiny. The Herzogin Cecilia, the Pamir, the Parma, the Cutty Sark, names whispered with reverence, sailed once more through the furious 50s. Their crews fought the same storms their forefathers had faced. Freezing spray that turned decks to glass, gales that shredded canvas to ribbons, and waves that towered above the masthead. Each voyage south of 50 degrees was an act of defiance, a reminder that while technology evolves, courage does not go out of date. When the last windjammers returned to port, their hulls were battered and their crews prematurely old. They had seen the ocean at its most merciless and lived to speak of it, but many never sailed again. They went home to quiet harbors, carrying the weight of memories the modern world could no longer understand. Their faces were weathered maps of the seas they had conquered, but their eyes still reflected the gray of Cape Horn. Today our ships are vast machines guided by satellites and screens. Cargo moves with precision. Storms are predicted days ahead. The Horn still stands, cold, cruel, magnificent, but few living souls will ever see it. With safety came loss, the fading of a certain kind of man. He measured worth not by comfort, but by how far he could push into the storm. Those who faced the Horn did not merely cross an ocean, they crossed into legend. The sea has always been a mirror. It shows us what we are, small, fragile, and fleeting. But it also reminds us that endurance still matters. Each gust over Cape Horn carries a memory, the defiance of those who refused to turn back. Their spirit lingers in the spray, the salt, and the silence between the waves. The world may move on, but the Horn remembers. The edge of the world. The modern world believes it has conquered distance. Oceans are mapped, storms are tracked, machines roam where men once feared to sail. Yet there remain places where nature keeps her old strength, places beyond comfort, beyond control. At the bottom of the world, Cape Horn still waits, shrouded in mist and eternity. The men who braved it are gone now. Their ships lie broken beneath the waves, iron bones rusting in the dark. But their spirit endures. It lives in anyone who refuses to surrender. It whispers in every man who keeps working when exhaustion demands he stop. They were not chasing comfort. They were chasing meaning. And when they stood against the storm, they proved that courage does not need an audience. It only needs a reason. We live in an age of safety, and perhaps that is its own danger. We forget what it costs to do something difficult, to persist when everything around you says turn back. Cape Horn is the great reminder. Strength is not born in calm seas, it is forged in chaos. It is built when the wind tears at your face and every instinct cries for retreat. That is where character is made. That is where the men of the Horn lived their truth. Even now the storms still come, the sea still takes. Beneath those black, endless waves, the bones of brave men still lie. Yet as long as the wind blows over Cape Horn, their story endures. For the sea may forget no names, but it always remembers courage.